The Say Something podcast is brought to you by amomentwithmorris.com and blackblueprints.com. That's blackblueprints with a Z.com. I'm Jermaine Morris here with the one and only Mr. Barry Accius.
Yes, sir.
We are bringing you the Say Something podcast.
Say something, say something, say something.
Talk about everything that's going on out here in the life, in the world, in the traffic out here in these streets.
In these streets, in these streets, in these streets. Still got it.
Barry Accius dropping 2018.
Man.
We're bringing you episode number 55.
We stuck on 55, dog. You kind of went somewhere on us.
Well, a little brief hiatus. Had to take care of some life.
You had to take care of some life. I had to take care of some flus and a whole lot of stuff going on, man.
Yeah, it gets real out here in the traffic.
In the traffic jam, it gets heavy.
I'd like to dedicate this episode to one particular individual. Person who does not anywhere get the credit that they deserve. So, a Detroit native.
I was about to say Barry Accius, but, okay.
We'll get to you. Your day is coming.
Yeah.
Your days. It was just acknowledged.
Hey, you know what? I appreciate that, but after you get acknowledged, you still get slapped in the face. But go ahead, do your thing, man. We'll talk about that later.
He's a Detroit native, born in '61. Was doing stand-up at the age of 14, where he was first noticed by comedian actor Jimmy Walker. Played JJ on Good Times. Said, man, you kind of funny. You put him in front of some people. He started doing comedy back with like Letterman and Leno, that same time period. He started working behind the scenes, production stuff, right? In 1993, he started his own company called Entertainment Studios. From that studio, it is the number one independent producer, distributor of syndicated programming for broadcast television. When you do all your ad stuff, whatever, when you're not one of the major machines, he's the number one independent one, and he does the advertising for 32 series. He currently has 30 series on TV right now that he has touched in some way, shape, or form.
Damn, 30, huh?
30 right now, currently. He is, everything from Cars TV, to Comics Unleashed, to America's Court, to Beautiful Homes and Great Estates. Like everything from reality TV, court stuff, homes, and all that stuff. He covers across the table. And he created a new blueprint for how TV shows get picked up. Typically, the way that it was done is that you would create a show, you'd sell it to a network, and then if they picked it up or not, you got paid your money, and then you went about your day. That's kind of how Dave Chappelle was known as Pilot Boy, because he had like 40 pilots that he wrote that were never picked up.
But he got money.
But he got paid for them. So if the network does with it or not, you got your money up front. What he created was he would create the content and then he gave it to the networks for free in exchange for 50% rights to sell the advertising. So say if you wrote a show and NBC was going to give you $200,000 for this show, just as a number. Okay. You got your $200,000 and then you were sent on your way. If the show became the number one show in the country, or if the show never made it past its pilot, you got your $200,000. What he would do is he would write the show, give you to the show for free. And then, because he believed in the content, he said, I want 50% rights to the advertising. So if the show got picked up and now all of a sudden it's in a good slot, he could go with his relationships to major companies for advertising, because he could make more off the 50% advertising than the network's going to get of him for the show. Okay. So, Procter & Gamble, whomever would advertise on his shows because he did all family-friendly content. He was so wide open on advertisers. His company, right now, he's sitting at over $400 million what his worth is. He's the dude that you never hear about. You hear about Tyler Perry, you hear about Oprah when it comes to TV and stuff. So
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, currently got 30 shows running right now. He is the number one independent seller of advertisement for major programming in every aspect of television. He an unsung hero, brother from Detroit. Shout out one time to Mr. Byron Allen.
Yeah, I knew it. Young Byron Allen. I remember Byron Allen when he came up. We was doing his comic thing. That brother's a very powerful brother, and he's a very insightful brother. He's a brother that drops some bars about how this industry works, about being black and independent in the industry, and how we need to build our own infrastructures. And I also think that he had a lawsuit that he also
Yeah,
won.
he is. I mean, across the board, he's winning. Like just across the board winning.
And you wouldn't know that though.
Yeah, and what he's double winning is that worth damn near $500 million. You probably wouldn't. You couldn't pick him out of a lineup of two.
No.
Like Byron Allen could pass you in a gas station, and he get the head nod.
Exactly.
You know, so he got all the fortune without the fame.
Yep.
So he can come and go as he pleases and do what he wants. But Byron Allen, if you're not familiar with who he is and the stuff that he's been attached to,
get familiar.
Yes, that is, like I said, we highlight Oprah, we highlight Tyler Perry, we highlight certain people. But when we always talk about building for yourself and putting your own stuff together and owning your own stuff and doing it that way, Byron Allen is definitely somebody that is worth researching and acknowledging for what he's out there doing in the game.
Do your Black History, because we are Black History 365.
Yes.
Right? Not just in February. That just came and went.
Off that short month.
Man.
So a lot's gone on since we was together last.
Yeah, a lot going on, brother.
You know,
got the Black Panther effect.
That's what I was about to say. Since we talking about
Donald Trump, 45 doing his thing. You got some shootings and teachers going to get guns. I mean, it's a lot happening.
Let's start with, since we on Byron and TV and movies. Let's also give another acknowledgement to Black Panther.
The Black Panther effect.
Sac State alum Ryan Coogler,
the
director.
Bay Area native.
And something that's along with that. So if you remember back in 2014.
I apologize. You know, I know. I just want folks to know how real it is when we in our studio and doing our thing. What you're hearing is me ripping up bills. Because shit is real right now, man. I'm just doing my last piece. I know I just want to get folks to know how real it is as I open up my PG&E bill and look at it and want to have a heart attack right now.
Okay.
Go ahead. Do your thing.
Okay. There was an issue that came up back in 2014 about these leaked emails. I don't know if you remember. Yeah. And it was all these emails were talking about they were addressing then President Barack Obama on the racial side.
Yeah.
And they were addressing actor comedian Kevin Hart. And there was the two parts. One, they were saying Kevin Hart they were calling him greedy and all this stuff because he didn't want to use his social media platform that he had built up himself for free to promote a movie. It was the Think Like a Man 1 or 2.
Okay.
And they were saying, oh, he's greedy. He should just, do this for us. And his argument was, you would pay a company to promote if that's what you need to do for the movie. He said, but you want me to do it for free. Right. He said, it doesn't work that way. He said, if you want to pay me, then I'll, promote it to all hell. But I'm not going to do it for free because he valued what he had and what he owned. Yeah. In those same emails, it was addressing Denzel Washington because this was for the Equalizer movie. Mm-hmm. And they were saying that Denzel should not have been the choice because movies that have black leads don't carry over globally. So they were saying that, we love Denzel and all, but movies with African American leads or ensemble cast don't translate to overseas success. Mm. And so that was it was an email that was sent to the chairman of Sony, and the person who wrote it, they, ironically enough, remained nameless. You can put all the other information in there, but somehow the person who wrote the email name just came up missing. And so that was a major campaign that they tried to go on about saying that black movies or movies starring black people do not carry over to overseas success. Meanwhile, that said movie, that Equalizer movie did it was $100 million movie, yeah. and it did phenomenal globally. And 6 of the top all-time leading box office stars
is a brother by the name of Denzel Washington.
Are Denzel Washington, Will Smith, Samuel L. Jackson, Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne is on everything.
I'm saying, because black people don't carry over to global success. I say all that to say this. Shout out one time in its third weekend, and currently in its third weekend. So the numbers ain't even done yet. Hitting the 800 million mark for Black Panther.
Yeah, let's get it going.
Because movies with black cast don't carry over globally.
Yeah, this is the Black Panther effect, man. And the way you broke that down, that was some real shit. Because I think sometimes we forget the circle of this racist system and how these entities like Hollywood are so ingrained in racism and race, right?
Yeah.
You just don't. Sometimes we don't look at it on that lens, and you can break down this Black Panther movie in so many different ways. So many people have.
Yeah.
We've had our time to kind of digest it, kind of watch how people have been moved on it, and really, first thing I have to say, one, don't steal the joy for the kids to have a black superhero.
Yeah.
Like, I get a lot of folks analyzing it to the degree of sometimes insanity almost. I think that when you have a movie like this, celebrate it for what it was made for.
Yeah.
That thing was to, one, entertain, to, if we want to use a word, the cliche word hope, to give hope that, you know, we are very marketable in so many senses of the way, and we don't need to just be pimps, hustlers, hoes, someone that came from some just rural background or just had some type of horrific thing happening for them to rise out of the ashes. Yeah. Sometimes it could just be just a basic, simple, this guy was kicking ass and asking questions, or this woman, because a lot of queens was kicking ass and asking questions. So let's not create this movie as the movie for the revolution. Though it was the movie title called Black Panthers, it has nothing to do with the iconic, legendary revolutionary group, the Black Panthers. Yeah. And you can go back and forth with what Stan Lee and the other guy that created the Black Panther. From what I hear, they said that had nothing to do with actually the Black Panther group.
Yeah, but I think it was reversed. I think the comic was first, and I think maybe that's where the name of the group may have taken.
But I don't even know that argument. But I just know the one thing of it was that it was just pretty much a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
In that sense, and it was also that because of that coincidence, and it kind of entangled into some controversy during that time, they actually tried to change the name of the Black Panther, like the Black Leopard or some craziness like that, right? But they reversed it, and the Black Panther is still here, was born in, I want to say 1967, 1966. The first issue of Black Panther when he appeared was in the Fantastic Four. And the funny thing about Black Panther, because I'm a Marvel kid, and I see you got your Black Panther shirt. You didn't buy one for me, but we'll talk about that.
I've been rocking Black Panther for
I got these Black Panther shirts that are doing phenomenal. The one thing about it is Black Panther was a critical part of like the Marvel comic university, right? And I think some people don't really understand that or see that, where how important he was with not only the Avengers, but just he was a badass, a real badass. And following comic books, it was great to finally see a black superhero that wasn't marked with a strange, deranged side or a dark side or overly comic kind of side. And I say that because all my life, I've grown up in white heroism. Yeah. All we saw...
Superman and whomever.
We Spider-Man, Batman's. And then we go from the fictional characters to the more real-life characters, the Chuck Norrises, the Mel Gibsons, the Harrison Fords. So you see these things, you're like, whoa, you don't see anything black. What do we have? We had...
Yeah, my guy was Carl Weathers. I was Action Jackson, Apollo Creed.
And then the two movies that we remember him from, he got killed in Rocky IV, and he got killed in The Predator.
Well, I will say this about the Apollo. See, so the Rocky series of movies is actually based on Apollo Creed. So if you it's the story of Rocky, and Rocky gets the title, and they got the Philadelphia statue of Rocky Balboa. That's something else about how people ain't real, but we're gonna celebrate them. But tell other folks not to celebrate somebody that ain't real. But Rocky 1 was based around Rocky losing to Apollo. Mm-hmm. Rocky 2 was based around him finally defeating Apollo. Rocky 3 was based around him being trained by Apollo. Rocky 4 was based around him avenging the death of Apollo. So it was one of those. That was one of the rare circumstances where that character got so much shine and significance. Though it's always highlighted about Rocky, the Italian stallion, whatever. Apollo had a lot more effect and a lot more impact than I think that we give him for, that we discuss when we talk about those series of movies.
Well, and that's fine.
You know what I mean?
But I'm just giving it to the point of how it got played out.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think a lot of us don't get, like, we don't appreciate that. We'll look at, oh, that's Rocky. Yeah, but there is no Rocky franchise without Apollo.
Yeah, but at the same particular time, the one thing that we were sold,
it was Rocky.
It was so Rocky.
Yeah.
And like I said, we talk about Carl Weathers, and yeah, that was the guy, but turn around Carl Weathers, one action movie that I thought could have been a franchise action movie was Action Jackson.
Yep.
I lived off that.
One of these days you really gonna piss me off.
And so you have that, and of course we have the Shafts of the world, and I don't want to discredit these guys, but we never had
and all that. Yeah,
we never had that superhero, that superhero that was a Captain America, that superhero that was our Spider-Man, our Superman. We go back and you look at these superheroes that we've had in cinema, if you think about it, they either had some kind of dark side to him, because you think about Blade, you think about Spawn. Spawn was kind of like, is he, he's a good guy, he's a bad guy, there was this thing. There wasn't just clean cut, here's this good dude, he's doing his thing, trying to save his people, protecting whatever.
No, I agree with you. I think the difference where we're at with Black Panther as opposed to the other ones were Black Panther is a black hero. The other ones were heroes who just happened to be black. Blade being black had nothing to do with him being Blade. Yeah. It wasn't the story of this young black vampire growing up.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Spawn had nothing to do with being black.
Yeah.
It was just the simple fact that, he just happened to be black.
Exactly.
That's it. But
and then at the same particular time, though they were black characters, they weren't really necessarily a superhero.
Yeah.
Right? There was that darkness. And then when you talk about cinema, again, you look at some of the superheroes that we had, they either were retarded. You look at Blank Man, right? Blank Man. Gotta remember our guy Blank Man.
I'm a Damon fan. Damon was my guy.
It was a funny movie. Or
Meteor Man.
Comedy. It was kind of Meteor Man. You got Undercover Brothers. And all of these movies had some great messages, like Black Panther. Messaging were there. Especially, I watched Undercover Brother. It was funny.
A lot of messages in there.
The messages was thorough all the way through.
Yeah.
But again, you can't take those guys seriously. And then they weren't franchised like the Spider-Mans. They weren't franchised like the Batmans, like the Supermans. So it's programmed. So white heroism is all a lot of us got to grow up with. So I understand a lot of the negative feedback from black folk, because we always got to be negative about something.
Yeah.
And I know the challenges. I know people are looking at it, it was Black Panthers, but it was black on black crime. We were fighting each other. I know with one of the Killmonger, with one of the greatest characters that was in there.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
But
no, not from you. I'm saying like that argument. Yeah,
I know that, but that's what people are coming up with, and I was like, okay. What is it? White on white crime.
All black people. There's going to be conflict with anybody. That's a proximity issue.
The world has been built off of competition.
Yeah, that's competition. That's not a black on black. That's just a population and proximity.
Everyone, and I broke it down with one of my brothers who I appreciate, and he said it. I was like, and then some other nerdy, silly nigga had posters about something. I'm like, come on, bro, let's not go too deep with it. Let's not go deep to the point to where we lose sight of what this movie means, and let's not go into the fact of, this is not going back to the black community, because even you got movies like Tyler Perry that have all black casts, right? And another thing, this is the first movie with all black cast. It's like, we've had all black casts on a majority of our movies, if you really want to think about it.
I don't remember too many. There was zero white people. I mean,
there's always because a white guy that was the CIA agent, and you had Claw. I mean, come on, you guys, let's stop going there with some things that
you drop all the way back to The Color Purple if you want an all black movie,
brother.
You know what I'm saying?
So when you go into that, you're looking at it like, okay, I get it, I understand it, but let's take it for the positive movement, the push. I mean, it gets worn out when you see everybody want to talk about Wakanda and all that stuff, and bringing the Africanism and things of that nature, and Afrocentric personalities, garments and things. That's all great. if it gets people more to the light, it works.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did recognize from that movie was the fact that people like myself, you, and other folks that I've known that have been consistent with pushing the line, let's say for the last like 7 years, right? With just messaging, with the medallions, the clothing, the dashikis, just the ideology, the conversation, the blackness, and even our roots, directing that to embrace the power of your African heritage, right? That have been promoting this while folks look at you funny. I mean, I've been on news, interviews with all African dashiki, and that is unheard of here in Sacramento. Folks, I'm walking around with black empowerment shirts, and what is he doing? Pushing a hard line unapologetically. When that movie is out there, I know myself and so many other folks that have been pushing that line unapologetically. You need to bow, slap your hands, throw your fist up, because that movie is more about you than anything else. Because the fact that we've stayed fast and stayed consistent and diligent with our beliefs has created opportunities for a movie like that. Because of the pulse of the black community, a lot of individuals changing the ideology of what it means to be black again, right? Putting our fists in places and talking about things that folks don't want to talk about, challenging what is considered the norm. That's the reason black culture can move the way they move, because we've had that, I think, steadfast consistency of people going out and really standing firm on, this is what I am. These folks in Hollywood pay attention. They pay attention to what's going on in the street. They pay attention to what's going on in media. They see what it is. This creates that movie that I can say I was helped promoting and push that before it even got promoted and pushed.
Yeah, if you look at Netflix has a series, it's called Dear White People, and though the title was taken, people were taken aback to it. It was, you would say, with exactly what you're saying, that's a setup for this type of movie. Like these types of conversations, HBO's Insecure, like certain dialogues that are starting to come up on a regular basis is showing that, like you're saying, Hollywood knew. There's no way they put $200 million into this movie without knowing, what the pulse is and where people's thoughts are. What I appreciate is, everybody, they showed all the premieres globally. Brothers and sisters coming out all dashiki'd out and with full step routines and like the whole nine. And I'm hoping that there's a piggyback in behavior, not just looking for a piggyback in movies. Like, this should open up the door for a bunch of other movies. Yeah, the people who are involved in this movie, they've all been getting greenlit. From the actors, the people involved, directors, there's already a bunch of things getting signed, and because this movie is so big that they're going to spin off and do a bunch of other projects. But I'm hoping that we don't sit there and say, okay, now we should be looking for the next 10 Black Panther movies to come out, but we haven't changed anything we do at home. Hollywood should start making these kind of TV shows, and they should start doing this kind of that. Okay, but what are you going to start doing? At the crib? Like, what are you going to start doing in the streets when you come past people? Are you now where you wouldn't speak to another black person? Now you throwing the Wakanda, little hit move? Are you becoming more? Are you recognizing the value of science and ownership and about legacy and about family and community? Are you taking principles and applying that to your day-to-day life? Or are you just waiting for Black Panther 2 so you can feel good again for 2 hours and have good conversation with the homies?
And I think that what you stated and what you broke down is my only negative about what is now going to happen after the fact. We've seen the movie. We celebrated. It was dope. I mean, I can't remember anticipation for a movie like that since, movies like Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, the vampire series that they had, Twilight and stuff like that, Harry Potter, like that energy was dope to see. I mean, the fact that, like, again, our young kids can identify with having a black superhero, remember, it's a fictional a film. It's based on a comic book, right?
Yeah.
And of course, it has some real, messages that can identify with current and previous things that have gone on. I think everything does if you really kind of read between the lines. But the truth is, black people are in a state to where we got to start making some real decisions. And these decisions have to be, are we going to continue to bury our ideas, our dreams, our hopes into things that are fictional, to things that are not our reality, or are we going to make it our reality? I was talking to my friend just this morning, and we were just talking about how you can have an Asian person come, and we've talked about this on our show several times. We talk about everything, but we focus on blackness and black issues and things that we say we need to say something, because when I look at it, as me and my friend were having this discussion, and an Asian person can move into a community, a Middle Eastern person can move in a majority black community and open up restaurants, you know what I'm saying? Open up one-stop shops, mini markets, whatever.
Yeah.
And we will be consumers to their product, whatever they're selling. And it doesn't even have to be halfway decent, but it's going to be good. They don't ever really put no money back in the community. They may give a few bucks here to maybe a little league or whatever. I don't know.
Most don't.
Most don't. But I mean, sometimes you can get a few of them on a nice day. But they really don't invest into that community, right?
Yeah.
But yet and still, a black person can create something that's focused on blacks, and it's something that we mirror. Let's just say the basic black foods: fried chicken, fried fish, greens, whatever. And Negro will go in there, argue up and down about why his macaroni is not as good as his grandma, so I'm not going to go over there. But we can go to Javier, or we can go to Chaya and go right there, spend with them, and think nothing about the food that we're getting that's not even culturally relevant to our own.
Yeah.
And without a doubt, not complain, not be a piss ant,
not try to negotiate price.
Go in there, pay, and leave.
When you go to Kim's Chinese food and they says it's $7.95 for the 2-item platter, it's $7.95 for the 2-item platter. When you walk up into Jose's and it's 3 tacos for $5, it's 3 tacos for $5. Like, that's what it is. When you go in though to so and so's, rib spot or fish, can you hook me up?
Yeah, the whole bit.
Can you, if anything, like, I'm a believer in you should overpay.
Mm-hmm.
You like to me, there's times where I'll go through stuff just to support the cause. I'll buy something I don't really need because I want the business to stay open. You know what I mean? Like, I'll have like the guys that work for me. Like, I drum up jobs for them sometimes, because I need to keep them employed. Yeah. Like, I need to keep them working and doing what they do. There's some stuff I could do myself.
Yeah.
But I know I need to keep them in the game. Not let me try to penny pinch you out. What's the least I can pay you? What's the least but for us, the idea of, if you respect somebody's business and you respect what they're doing, you should recognize that the hookup is what sends them out of business.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
someone asked me, as people know that I, on the side, one of my hobbies that is not really a hobby, is one of my businesses. I have Void Cafe. I do it every first and third of the month for SAC, our SAC African Marketplace. And folks asked me, well, why don't you have a restaurant? And I said, straight up, Negroes want to support me. For 3 years, I had to condition, and I had to gel. I had to start getting my folks to recognize a different kind of food. I cook, my cuisine is Caribbean style, right? Yeah. So it's got curries, we got, goat, oxtails, plantains, stewed chicken. I know I'm getting hungry thinking about it right now. Rice is whatever. Very flavorful. No disrespect on some folks' culture. Like, I'll take my food compared to like our cuisine, like Haitian cuisine, over anybody's food, right?
Yeah.
I'd rather go to my spots way before a Latino spot. It's no disrespect. It's just what it is, right?
Yeah.
But in order for our people to really gravitate to that, you got to condition it and build them. You have to start creating that ideology to make it normal. Like, wow. So now within 3 years, now it looks closer that I could maybe possibly eventually in the next 2-3 years open up something. Yeah. But it's still a consistent job.
Yeah, we are, a lot of us are conditioned to thinking just because the human body can digest it, it doesn't mean that it's food. So I think that that's probably, we definitely gonna have to do one on the stuff that we consume and what we take in, like eating wise. Because there's a lot of stuff that we believe that because the human body can chew it up, it can go down your throat into your stomach and then eventually leave your body, that was food. Mm-hmm. And we'll go and pay $5 for a burger that's 15% actual meat. Yeah. Rest is filler, byproduct, chemicals. Mm-hmm. Burgers that are made in a lab. Yeah. Chicken that's been, hormone pumped up, looking like Schwarzenegger raised it. And we'll eat all this crap, and we're so conditioned to thinking that that's food, that when you taste actual food,
you don't even know what to do.
It doesn't taste like food to you because it doesn't taste like what you've been eating.
Exactly.
Like if you take, one of the big, I shifted to being a vegetarian about 3.5 years ago now, and I used to always had a solid. I ate vegetables I regularly, but when you remove meat, you have to use a lot more, And then I wanted to get rid of salt, so I started finding other natural spices and seasoning, like vegetables and stuff and spices to use. And it's just crazy when you actually start cooking and eating food. Like you can cheat with not eating real food with the crappy meat from somewhere.
Yep.
It'll let you slide because it'll fill you up, but it's not actual food. I think we're so conditioned to get it to fake, and we're so conditioned to process that we have a difficulty accepting real. And that's why I think with this movie, a lot of real stuff was used. I'm hoping that it doesn't have us backslide into fake. Now, I know it's a fictional movie and a fictional character, but I think that the idea that we can come together, I think the idea that if we really work on building community, that we work on village, if we work on, studying and the importance and significance of family and some honor and stuff about yourself, I think that I'm hoping to be optimistic that we could be a shift and not just fall right back into whatever the summer 2018 trash movie comes out, where it's got us right back to the pimp and thug logic. And
because think about that. That's most of the imagery and some of the folks that we grew up idolizing. Shoot, you couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to be the next Nino Brown, and you saw his fate. You couldn't tell me that I was an old dog, and you saw his fate. You know what I'm saying? You couldn't tell me that wasn't me, Kane. You saw his fate. You couldn't say that I wasn't Tupac, and you saw his fate. So all of these heroes that we've gravitated to in a necessarily way that you would think we would look at it like, well, damn. I don't want to be this guy. It still was, man, I'm old dog. But I'm going to be the old dog that doesn't get caught from the cops. So I'm going to be the Tupac that doesn't get shot up in a car. So that's all we've had. So if they're going to, whether it's white Hollywood, black Hollywood, if they're going to give, first of all, let's look at the situation. This brother who directed it, Bay Area young, native, graduated from the school. My daughter goes to Sac State, and of course they're marketing the shit out of that now.
Well, right? Sure. They got a big billboard here now. Sac State alum.
It's crazy. Of course, forget Fruitville and Creed. We worried about that, and that's for a black director to have that kind of a hit. I'm talking about John Singleton's, Spike Lee's. They ain't had no moneymaker like this. Tyler Perry. Folks have done some great epic movies to level up and create this awareness of black culture and what we go through, and it's an honor to have that. But to be able to have a guy that get a budget the way he got it and to hit a home run the way he did, to be honest with you, it was almost like this can't miss, right? But if it did miss, it was going to be a big deal.
Let's say this. That could miss.
No, but I'm just saying.
No. Because I'm agreeing with you, and I want folks to really wrap their brain around this. Because if you think that this was just a guaranteed win, because the director, Ryan, went back through, it was so much involved in script writing. Like, you could have just given this to the Zack Snyders or the Singers or the guys who've been doing all the X-Men, the Marvel movies, whatever, and kept it strictly Marvel, kept it strictly comic book, and this could have tanked. This could have been a horrible film. But Ryan was so intricate in the script, in the dialogue, in the nuances. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to make sure that he gets the credit he deserves for that, because some people will be like, oh, yeah, if you with this cast and this story, it was an automatic hit. No.
And when I say that, because of the Marvel brand, and there's a difference between when Marvel Disney does something, and Fox, Marvel, and Sony Marvel. Now they're all under one umbrella, right? But before, it's like, you look like, well, how is that X-Men not good like the Avengers? It's because it wasn't Walt Disney, right? How is that Spider-Man? Because it wasn't Walt Disney.
And different directors make a huge difference.
But also different production.
That's what I'm saying. But like, the whole team that's involved with the movie, it makes a big difference.
And it was under Marvel. I mean, it was not Marvel. It was under Walt Disney. There's like different companies. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so now they're all in one.
Because you can watch them Fantastic Four.
They were horrible.
No, I'm saying just so people get the idea. Fantastic Four, the movie, the ones with what's the old girl named Alba.
Oh.
That's the only one I remember from the movie. So you take those movies, the dude who played Johnny Flame, the Human Torch,
Chris Evans,
it's Captain America,
and then because it was,
but this is so people can get it. So what he was in that versus under a different series, Michael B. Jordan, Killmonger, was Johnny again. Yeah. In the other version of the Phantom, maybe they just need to go ahead and leave Johnny alone. Or play Johnny and you got a great career. Yeah. But you can do these movies and they just not take off because of the rewrites. When a new director comes in, you bring in your assistants. But you gotta get right. And so giving just that props to Ryan for his vision, what he attached to it, and for us, like I said, I'm loving to see the dashikis out.
Well, here's I want to just one more point on that. Because had he fallen short from the Thors, the Iron Mans, the Avengers, even the Ant-Mans and the Doctor Stranges.
Which made money.
All of them.
Which just for some people like, oh man, I didn't like that or that. No, them movies made money. They
all made money. If this would have been a flop,
that's a wrap.
It would have been a wrap for any black director, producer, whatever, trying to come with this kind of angle, or even a white producer or director kind of come with this kind of angle. It would have been nope. You would have had every single cast member would have been let go. We got to get a new Black Panther, and I guarantee you this: they would have tried to flip the Black Panther as now the White Panther. It would have changed the whole ideology.
Some kind of change, because if you look at how these movies, how they're all coming together. Like I said, it's going to be amazing. Like I said, he already got the sequel, so he's going to get Black Panther 2. And I would like to see where they go with this, because people remember all these independent movies. There's 18 right now of these Marvel movies, which are all been working their way to a series. So when you think about all the Iron Man movies, the Avengers, Captain America, the Ant-Mans, all that stuff, they all tied into a bigger picture. So Black Panther's role is now increased, his value to the big picture. So I'm interested to see how, because when it goes to the other movies, it's not the same director.
Yeah.
So Black Panther in his own movie this was Ryan's project. Yeah. But the other one, the Infinity War, whatever.
Infinity Wars, that's about to be crazy.
Yeah, that's already been shot.
Yeah.
Different director.
Yeah.
And then there's going to be another one after that, different director.
Yeah, but those movies, and like I said, all those movies have been just fire.
But what I'm saying is that for what the character of the Black Panther and what they did with this movie, that's that movie.
Yeah.
And so we need to recognize that for what it is, that film. Yeah. Appreciate it, take whatever lessons out of it that we can, and then move forward to do the stuff that's in our lives. There's a few over time, there's usually about every decade, there'll be a lightning rod movie. Something will come out that we start feeling
like a Roots or something like that.
Roots, right? School Days, Spike, do the right thing. Something will
Malcolm
come out. That's another man who needs to make sure he gets the credit that he deserves, big picture.
Yeah,
because what Spike Lee did for the game.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. That's why I say he does.
But I mean, for this generation now, they don't know him.
Nah,
he's just a guy who dresses weird at Knicks games.
Yeah,
that doesn't like Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
Like,
and I understand why.
Yeah, what I'm saying, but he's just that guy to the younger generation. And if you're not familiar with Spike Lee's movies, do your homework. Go back and check out, the School Days, which was in.
You probably would not know Denzel Washington if it wasn't for Spike Lee.
No, not at all. He was doing what was the TV show he was on back then? He was doing daytime.
What, St. Elmo's
Fire, was that it?
St. Elsewhere's.
Back when he had the gap in his teeth?
Yeah, St. Elsewhere's. And then, he just pulled on, and you would have probably known Wesley Snipes without Spike Lee. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I know he tried to get his sister on, and his sister didn't really go nowhere. But these things and some of the controversial movies that we would consider controversial, it was great to kind of see that other now folks are being able to walk in that walk for giants like Spike Lee that came in and put something that was relevant, that was real, and I think that was speaking from our perspective, right? And it didn't move a direction of compromising, right? But I think that when we look at some of the characters of Black Panther, and we go into some of the characters, we have the women representing for real. And with the new surge of feminism,
non-sexualized,
yes,
which is huge
and sexy too, though.
But there's a difference.
Yeah,
there's a difference between being sexy and being sexualized
and bad.
Yeah. Nobody was the hoochie of the tribe.
And you know what I'm saying? Fly, and it was dope, and I love that because I have a daughter and I have other kids that are my kids as well that are my daughters, and I love watching that. I love seeing that. I love watching that. The girls kick ass. I'm all for that. You know what I'm saying? And the simple fact that you had just all those integral parts, but you go into that one character, Killmonger.
Yeah.
That one character where you look at Black Panther as being the modern day Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And then Killmonger being the modern day Malcolm X.
Okay.
The conversation is with a lot of folks. Was he really a bad guy? Was he really a villain? Was he really the person that wasn't the actual superhero? Like, he wanted to do something that a majority of Black folks really want to do. Defeat and kill the oppressor.
Yeah, which is why when Chadwick Boseman just did that piece where he was discussing, when people were giving their reactions to the movie, one of the things that he said is that Panther was the villain, not Killmonger. That he was the one that had to squash that spirit, that a lot of people feel. There's a lot of people who are screaming for a Killmonger independent movie.
Yeah.
Tell his story.
Yeah.
Do a little sidebar, prequel type thing. He could get Michael B. Jordan, his phone gonna be ringing.
Yeah.
That he could get that piece, and that there's a lot of folks who ride with that sentiment. And I think that they were so similar. It was similar when you go Malcolm and Martin. Towards the end, they were way more alike than they were different. And,
And his influence actually towards the movie allowed him. And I know we're going through spoilers, but by this time, if you ain't seen the movie, it's too late.
Well, we talk around it.
Yeah, well, I think I'm going to break some stuff down right quick. So spoiler alert for those who are listening that ain't ever seen it. But bottom line is, you had his influence of his cousin, who in the comic book, he wasn't his cousin, right? It was his father and the son were just exiled to the United States, right? Yeah. But they put the twist in where they were able to put the Bay Area, put Oakland in there, and it was dope because it was like, okay, he came in, he is the father of Killmonger was basically saying, well, man, this is what's going on over here, and we need to do more. What was the thing? Was the influence that was given as Panthers, like, what, we have to do more. We should be doing more. And I think that is kind of like the key message, telling the people, we need to do more. Telling the elite, you have the access and the ability to be able to do more. You need to do more, right? Yeah. And that's when they go into the United Nations and basically say, you know what, we're going to open up our resources and we're going to be here to, help. And when they went to Oakland and said, yo, you know what, we're going to do this. I bought this out. It was such a Black blueprint, right, of like things that a lot of us talk about. And the fact that we don't have the access because we don't have the monies, we don't have the power, we don't have those resources to now sit there and say, hey, I'm going to take my monies. I'm going to go to this neighborhood. I'm going to go ahead and rebuild this. I'm going to add these things. Hear closely the messages. Let's not focus on the negativity, but let's focus on the influence that was given as the cousin died. His vision, though some people say he may have been going about it wrong, it was still a vision to say, damn, why are we as people oppressed? We're in these situations of confinement when the reality is we have a lot of resources. And I've been saying this from day one. Yeah. The Negro's situation should be a whole lot different 4 years, 400 years ago, we were destitute and turning on to now because we have a lot more access, a lot more power, and a lot more resources and individuals that can push the line.
So this segues to something that's happening in real life. So I don't know if you've seen this story yet. It's happening in South Africa, which is what people would always liken to what happened in Haiti, about how when the oppressors were overthrown, that they had to get up and go.
Yes.
That it wasn't going to be this 5% overruling this 95% and thinking that, okay, now that it's switched, we all going to get along and be cool. Like, y'all done way too much to think that you could still sit up in here and chill. So in South Africa right now, quote unquote, colonizers are being thrown out. Mm. So they're the government, in line with the police department, in line with the people, are coming through farmlands all owned by white people, and they're just taking them. Mm. That the black people down there is like, y'all sat by, you may not have been involved in the oppression, but you benefited from my previous oppressor.
Yes.
So you are guilty, you are de facto guilty. So all this land that you have, that you got under apartheid and that you got under the old system and the old regime, you came up under our oppression. So we just going to go ahead and get that back from you. So,
hey, since it's a Sunday, glory, glory, hallelujah.
Yeah, so they're right now talking about, we're going to need to get that back from you. So they're going through farmlands, and they are, on the savage side of the game, white people are getting caught slipping. Like, they out there murdering them, they beating, raping women, they robbing everybody. They're coming through, they're saying, you all need to get up out of here. And have you heard this?
Sounds familiar. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I heard about it.
So right now, they're sending PSAs like they do at 2 a.m. They'll have like that dog that's by the chain link fence and some Sarah McLachlan playing on the slow tune. They're doing those types of ads for the white people down in South Africa who are like, help us. Like, we need refuge. We need, if you can send us some money so we can migrate to Europe. Can y'all come up in here and help us? Can we get some UN support? And no part of me feels, and I'm smiling as I say this is so bad, that I don't feel that anybody deserves to just suffer. No. Especially if you were just in a system, you weren't the driving force, but you did benefit, so you do owe some of this. There is no sympathy throughout the continent. Yeah. You got these white people down there, and even where they came from, these countries aren't helping. Like, they're learning, how this works. Yeah. They're going back to their native, they're calling their native countries up, and they're like, nah, son, we ain't coming down there. Because they're learning the classism side. Uh-huh. You all are poor white folks. And we don't care about poor people of any color. Yes. So right now, you start talking about, the uprising and how people feel. I don't like the way they're going about it. Yeah. But I do appreciate the fact that
it's happening.
It's happening. That because people ask that for years, how come there was never, or why is there such a small percentage running such a huge percentage? And they apparently talk about being woke or the light bulb finally coming on. They're like, why are y'all still here? Yeah. Like, why did we let you, after all the abuse? If you're not familiar with what apartheid was, because it might just be a word to you. I mean, the system that would think Jim Crow South. You can't even do, if a white person is walking at you, you better cross the street.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You are not allowed here. Yes. You are not allowed to live here. We can just roll up and do what we want, when we want, how we want, to whoever we want. Like, that's how a small percentage of white people were running a black nation. Mm. And now that has been flipped, the black people down there was just like, wait a minute. y'all was doing this and you're still here? Yeah. Like, the laws changed, but you think you could still just chill up in here?
No.
Yeah, nah, son. So I'll be interested to see. I don't like the fact that they're just randomly running up on folks, but they're really putting the message out there. Y'all got to get up out of here.
Well, I don't mind at all. I mean, but at the same particular time, it is, an eye for an eye, and, karma's a motherfucker. But I look at it like this. When probably the most negative thing I will say about this whole Black Panther movie will be the fact that going into what is happening in South Africa right now, how the Nat Turner story came, the birth of a nation, and folks didn't support that. Yeah. And that showed some killing of white folks, some killing of some slave owners. And in reality, it wasn't a lot. You know what I mean? It was like maybe 2 scenes, if that. It was like, you know, kind of like, bam, bam. It wasn't no throughout the whole movie, which I would have loved to see a little bit more detail, right? But that will be the only thing I critique about our people in this sense, because I'm going to let everyone be with their glory, because I want to see what happens 2 to 3 months after the fact, right? If you don't see what was going on in South Africa, if you don't see what's going on in America, more of the same bullshit, whether it's a school system, whether it's a police still killing unarmed black people, whether it's all the things that's happening in the sports and, you know, all these leaked emails and conversations. Oh, I didn't know he was racist. And just the things that the pussy grabber, aka Mr. 45, is doing in his regime. If you can't get an idea that our empowerment, or our togetherness, not our separation, our togetherness, are men and women working together as a unit. I know we have separate issues, but we have a bigger issue. Collectively, we have to get over egos. We have to get over agendas. We have to get over this classism, this eliteness. We have to get over this bearing of victimism. We have to get into this mode of let us have the courage to move forward an agenda that is focused on the upliftment and the empowerment of the black community. Whether you want to call it the Moor community, I don't care. Yeah. Whatever it is, it's we look like each other. Let's get it done. So the South African thing is to me an eye opener. I don't see that happening in America. I think it'll be more strategic. You know what I'm saying? Even though I know there's some folks that would really want to get down. Yeah. America's just too prepared for that.
They've been prepared.
They've been prepared. They've been waiting for the revolt. And that's the thing about it. A majority of what this whole thing, this racism, this capitalism, it's based on fear. It's based on folks. It's like when a person who's been a president, CEO, unless they move into another CEO position, another president position, when they have to now be let go of their position, or they are, you know, they say, hey, it's time for you. We're going to go a different way. Route, yeah. To be let, it's like being let go of a job. It's like, oh shit, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not going to have a job, or I'm not going to be the CEO. I'm not going to have that power. I'm not going to be able to have those resources. That's the whole thing. It's the fact that we've been done so wrong. These folks are like, I don't want this shit to happen to me, because they're watching South Africa and saying that's what's going to happen. Well, that's
what they've been expecting. I remember there was a report came out of the 60s, and they were referring to the boycotts and the church uprising in the South between the Nation of Islam, the Black Panther Party, the different gangs that were starting to spring up amongst the nation to protect black neighborhoods from white violence. And it was the old CIA report that was saying that, this was the greatest threat on American soil in American history, and that we will never be in this position again, because the American government felt like they was on the ropes. Like we was getting hit economically with the boycotts. We got all these groups jumping everywhere. It's a matter of time before these heads link like Voltron, before, Malcolm and Martin figure it out, between Huey and Bobby link up with them, between, all these, it's, we see this cooking. Like if all of a sudden they can figure out how to get together on the same page, we really in trouble. So after the 60s, they were like, we will never be in this position again. And so the threat was a two-part was, it's like they started making preparation for the shoe that never dropped. So they were sitting there saying, we did all this to these people. We've done such and such systemically, just blatantly, all this. There's no way in hell they're just going, at some point in time, much like the brothers down in South Africa, someone's going to wake up and start feeling differently. So we need to start putting a bunch of stuff in place for this shoe to drop that never did.
And the laws are the reason why. I think there was a report that they said black people have not moved anywhere. Like we're in the same position that we were like 50 years ago.
We're in the same position we were 150.
Yeah, exactly. This like our progression in America has not really moved anywhere. And even though we have a lot of people that have a lot of position, we have a lot of people that have access to power, we're still in kind of the same pigeonhole that we've been in.
If you don't understand that, because some people are like, there was a black president, look at LeBron, and look at it. 20 years after the end of slavery, black people own 1.5% of all the nation's wealth, resources, and land.
Say that one more time.
20 years after slavery, Black people across America own 1.5% of all the land, resources, and wealth in America. As of 2016, black people own 1.5% of all the wealth, resources, and land in America. The needle has literally not moved.
That's crazy, bro.
So when we talk about
we talk about say something, that's something we need to say.
Yeah, the needle literally, not figured, not little kind of sort of, no, it literally has not moved. And people will say, well, you got these people who make millions and this and that. Yes, but you have to compensate for money. So just like there's a LeBron with 300 million, there wasn't a 300 millionaire before. So when you go exponentially up, there were no billionaires back then.
Yeah.
And so when you go across the board, the average, the average black American is worth about $1,500 when you go to all your total assets and debt that we carry. Ooh. So as much as there's a Jordan, as much as there's an Oprah, as much as the average black folk walking around is worth rent. It's worth 1 month's rent. And total value, once you go,
and that's not good, man.
So when we talk about that needle hasn't moved, we are, like so we talk when we do the economic ones. The average black man in Sacramento make $33,000 a year, and then you look at his spending, and it's more than $33,000.
Exactly. And we just and we had a conversation, about our overhead. We have a heavy overhead, and you don't even have a child. You know what I'm talking about? You don't even have a kid. I mean, you have staff. I have a child. I have staff, and then we are a majority of our events, because we're such doers and we're like, okay, we'll figure it out later. Yeah. We don't take time to sit there and say, let's find all this sponsorship. It's almost kind of a fly. We get a little bit of, we'll just put it on, but because we can't wait, because that's a process, right? And sometimes we probably shoot ourselves in the leg, but there's such a need for information to be put out there, right?
Yeah.
And I think that us waiting for folks to, well, it takes too much time. And in that sense and in that factor, when you look at the things that are going on, the message of Black Panther, and the fact that folks wanted to see that message but were afraid to see a realistic and a actual factual, not a fiction message that Nat Turner did in The Birth of the Nature and how they broke that all down. And then you're looking at the things that are going on in South Africa, and we know that the Academy Awards, the Oscars is coming up, right? The Oscars is coming up, and some of the folks that kind of took the initial stance and said we don't need to be doing any of these award shows. It's going to be very interesting to see how we move and we operate after the fact. The Panther effect is in a full effect.
Black Panther will be for the next year's Oscar.
Yeah, and then at the same time, we have Get Out in here. I think one of the actors is nominated for Best Actor or things that something like that. I'm not too sure. Something
with the movie, but I don't think they're black.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think something with the movie.
They've been promoting him a lot, so I don't know if he's connected to it. But I'm just saying, in a sense of, one, the reality that we've shown in this whole Black Panther effect is economically, because see, the Marvel was going to get their money because people were Marvel fanatics, right? Yeah. But we just helped it move a lot faster. Yeah. So economically, we showed, again, that we know there's strength in numbers, and when we are all intent on, what should I say, supporting something, right? Yeah. When we have that intent to support something, it works. If we can now utilize that energy and that, strategy with other things that will create growth, will create legacy, that will create wealth, that will create things that we can pass on for generations. I've said here in Sacramento, you look at the Asian community, you look at the Latino community, they all, the Middle Eastern communities, they all have their thing. Guess what? We need a black business district. We have a little bit of what my brother Nasir called what is a Florin Square over here. Yeah. And this is pretty much where the African Marketplace happens, 2251 Florin, where there's a whole lot of black businesses, nonprofits, and things of that nature. I have my office. We have our office space here as well. But we have to have more. We have to have a one-stop shop that's happening 7 days a week. We need to be able to have a set of other businesses, insurance companies, dental, not car rentals, but yes, car rentals, little doctor offices and things, lawyers. We need to have all those spots, as well as our little supermarkets and things of that nature. Yeah. Confined in one place to create that atmosphere, and as well as locations so we can throw events. We don't even have locations like that, so we can throw events. We need more of those. We have different things attached, but we need it to where it feels black. It's black, unapologetic, without compromise.
If you on the idea of you screaming Wakanda forever, and the base of why that became what it was as a nation is because it was self-sufficient and self-contained.
Wow.
That it was something that was like, well, let's just work on the infrastructure and build from within. It wasn't built because it got all these external influences to build it up. And I think that if we can adapt the mindset and the mentality of let's just circle the wagons and let's work on us and use the resources that we have, because as black people globally, it's not even in America, black people, and the resource that we are as an ability to create, to think, to do, to build, to what we're passionate about. I mean, we can build up a civilization like no other, but we can tear one down when we want to as well. I mean, the force of what we can do when we really decide to put our mind to something is amazing. And we showed that, like I said, there's a lot of people who saw this movie. This is movie number 18 on their slate of Marvel movies. And it beat the other 17. So, I mean, the fact is, for a lot of people who had never seen the previous 17.
Now they're going to go watch the previous.
And so, you know,
it's a Black Panther effect.
It shows that when we really want to get behind something, that we can do that. And I think that we have to take in the information, take in these moments when they happen, and then go back and apply them to our real life and take these lessons, teach them to our folks, practice them, and, of course, say something.
Application is everything that's necessary for us to get out of our bondage.
Yes, sir. This is the Say Something podcast. I'm Jermaine Morris here with Barry Accius. Where can folks find you online?
Barry Accius, Facebook, at Team Void, Instagram, and of course at Twitter, Barry Accius. That's still down, but I promise I'll get it back up.
Jermaine Morris on Facebook. Everything else is at J Morris CEO. This has been the Say Something podcast.
Yes, sir.
And until next show, we will holla at you later.